All right. All right, we're recording. Sweet. Okay. All right. Man, I always want to say like what time of day it is. I have to not do that. Hey guys, Brian O'Day. I'm the executive director of the Praetorian Project. I'm hanging out today with Gabe Martin. Good to see you, Gabe. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me on here.
Good stuff. Gabe is in SanDiego, California. Tell us a little about yourself and how you got to be involved at Pillar SanDiego.
Right. I did 11 years in the Navy as a naval aircrew rescue swimmer, and left the Navy to go into ministry, finished seminary, and was pastoring a church in Texas. Back up just a minute. When I left the military to go into ministry, the idea was always to be a church planter, and SanDiego was always the place. And through seminary and having a church call me to pastor them in Texas, we kind of just felt the door to church planting was closed. And through a series of the providence of God, I'll say, my number was given to Daniel Carter, who was in the process of being sent out from Pillar Oceanside. Yeah. And Daniel called me up, really wanting to talk about financial support, because our church had already been looking to partner with some church planters in SanDiego. And through the course of talking and sharing, and him learning about me and my heart and what we had originally intended, Daniel threw out a really big ask on that very first phone call and asked if we would move to SanDiego and plant the church with him. And I laughed and said, probably not. But we agreed to pray about it. And over the course of praying about it and then getting to know Daniel and his wife, Rochelle, God just continued to reveal to my wife and I that this was where he was leading us. And so we told our church that we were pastoring, that I was pastoring in Texas, that we felt this is where the Lord was leading us. And more affirmation from God. The church in Texas was 100% behind us and supportive. And they said that they could see it and believed it. And so even that church in Texas has been a huge blessing to us in supporting us and sending us out here.
Man, that's awesome. I love the story. Hearing Daniel's perspective on the story and yours is just great. He's calling to like raise financial support and starts talking to you, asks questions, and realizes like, wait, I think this is the partner I've been looking for this church plant. Man, that's awesome. So you moved with your family last summer, and Pillar SanDiego started publicly gathering as a church September of 2020, right?
Right.
So you're coming up on that big 1-year anniversary here in about a month and a half. So that's exciting. What are you guys celebrating as a church these days?
So it's been 1 year since I moved out here this week. That was huge. And so we were already starting to meet as a core group. But as you know, that was right in the middle of COVID. And so the big question is, do we just put this thing off, and obviously not. So we've just been meeting in a church. We've been meeting in a church we've been meeting in a park for a year. Yeah. And it was just this past Sunday, we had our very first service indoors at an elementary school. And that was something we've been praying for. It was a huge blessing, not so much just being indoors, because we loved meeting in the park. Yeah. It was a blessing. It was provided us great opportunity to just talk to people walking by. The park was great. Right. But what we're really celebrating is not only are we indoors, we are right in the middle of our target community. Right. The Murphy Canyon Military Housing had always been the mission field. It had always been the target. And not being able to be there, the park was actually about a mile west. But now being indoors right in the middle of our target community is just a huge blessing. It's an answer to prayer. And So that's really what we're celebrating, actually getting moved into the middle of our mission field.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that you guys did that. Like, military community of SanDiego, California is just a massive thing, right? There's pockets of military all over the place. There's Navy, there's Marine Corps, there's civilians, and then there's people that have nothing to do with the military, all in that area. But you guys very focused on one large military housing complex there. Of course, you're going to reach others as well, but having that focus, and man, praise God that you guys are in that school now, and we're just excited to see what God does through that. What are some of the challenges that you're kind of working through, maybe in that transition or something else as a church?
One is, okay, now we're in this community. It's almost like we're a new launch. We've got to let the community know we're here.
Yeah.
Now we've got to get out, which is, I mean, that's the fun part of church planting. I mean, I don't know if fun part's the word to use, but it's it's when you get into church planting, that's what you do is you go let that community know. You go share the gospel. You go start interacting people and being an ambassador of Jesus in that community. So we've got a little bit of that challenge figuring out now, okay, how do we get into this community? I won't go into too much detail, but we recently found out that door hangers are a no-no in this military community. So back to the drawing board on that one. But that's a challenge. And then also, like I said, this past Sunday was our first Sunday in the school. And we're only allowed in there on Sundays. And so we didn't have a chance to do any kind of dry runs, any kind of setups, and so a lot of it is just reacting to challenges as they pop up. We had a projector issue because we hadn't been able to get in there and really test the projector. And I mean, these are small things. Just the challenge of, we've been a church in a park for a year. Now we're a church indoors, making that shift. What does this look like? Relearning our routines.
Yeah, no, it's good. And a big theme of church planting is having to move locations and figuring those things out. And it's really a growth opportunity for the church family to work through those things together. Different folks will have different opinions about what that looks like, and those types of folks. Man, you could reach out to the folks at Pillar DC. I think in the year 2020, they had 4 different meeting locations as a church. And so they walked through that process a couple times. So that's, man, definitely some
We're just keeping your number on speed dial. That's our big answer to everything.
That's good. No, that's great. Man, that's exciting. So how can we be praying for Pillar SanDiego and or the Martin family specifically?
For Pillar SanDiego, definitely pray that we would have a quick transition into that community, that it would quickly be known that there's a church here that loves Jesus and wants to love the community, and that we would see those opportunities that God is putting in front of us to make connections with people. Pray for families in the Murphy Canyon housing for us to be able to connect with them, to kind of get a foothold in the community, and be able to have gospel conversations and actually have a reason to be in there. So pray for all that we could really just make a huge gospel impact in this community quickly. And for the Martin family specifically, just, my kids, when we moved to SanDiego in the middle of COVID, they were doing online homeschool. And so they'll be starting up school in person for the first time in SanDiego, not really knowing anybody, not really having any friends or anything. So just that they would transition into that well, and just that the Lord would continue to provide us the financial support we need, and which He's been gracious to do. So other than that, just that we'd be faithful.
Yes, sounds good, man. That's great. Your kids are middle school age, right?
My son is. My daughter is still in elementary.
Middle school and elementary school. So yeah, big transition for them. I think everybody can commiserate with the normal challenges of COVID and schooling and kids that age, elementary, middle school, but then the added complexity of doing that in a new town, and that's all kind of continuing. So, yeah, we definitely want to partner with you guys in prayer for that. Good deal. Well, thanks, Gabe. Good catching up with you. If you're watching this video, feel free to share it with your church family, so you guys can be praying for us. If you're just watching it individually, take a moment now to pray for Pillar Church of SanDiego and for the Martin family. Love you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Good stuff.